Hi and welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever it is that you're finding yourselves. I'm so happy to have you here with me today, and especially also for this fun, very insightful masterclass that we're going to have today. And the topic is going to be covered is it's chronic pain. How do we resolve it? How do we deal with it? What is this all about other than just the fact that it's pain, right? Now, also be open-minded in terms of where I'm going to go with today's research. We're going to tap a little bit on, the medical side of it, the psychological side of it, and then, of course, as most of you know me, the medical, metaphysical side of it. So for most of you who know me, know that I've written this big book called Metaphysical Anatomy, and it's a big book of 722 medical ailments and the psychosomatic emotions, like the suppressed emotional patterns behind that. And this is one of 19 books. So we're going to have a little bit of a dive into the pain side of it. And we're going to look into that, that relationship between the physical pain and psychological trauma and how they can start to actually surface in the body as well. Because chronic pain often comes from more than just a physical injury. I mean, recent studies have also shown a very deep connection between trauma and long-term physical and mental health problems. So in today's session, we're going to dive into a lot of, quite profound and fun research that challenges the traditional understanding of pain. For instance, an MRI study of 1,000 people revealed no direct correlation between physical damage, for example, such as a ruptured disc, and the experience of chronic pain. Now that says a lot. Now, this finding, it suggests that pain is often stored in the body as a result of unresolved traumatic memories, particularly when the body is now in a fight and flight response and it's unable to engage, leaving a person now what? In a prolonged freeze response. So here what it's showing is that trauma survivors, for example, like soldiers from World War I, they gave us a very powerful example of this. And many were trapped in a frozen self-defense posture during traumatic events, leading to PTSD symptoms that carried physical consequences throughout their lives as well. Now, this chronic activation of this freeze response not only affects mental health, but also creates physical conditions like fibromyalgia and often stress-related disorders as well. Now, we will also dive into the role of attachment styles and also actually how they influence both emotional and emotional resilience and our ability to recover from trauma. And we will also discuss how childhood trauma can lead to dissociative states as well, and actually a delayed fight or flight response with significant implications for lifelong health. Now, this masterclass also, we will be diving into actionable insights, including a lot of meditative, processes, affirmations, looking at also helping you to start to release and really truly start to encourage healing. And by the end of this masterclass, you'll have a much deeper understanding of how trauma and chronic pain are connected, and also a lot of practical tools to help support you and start to kind of like, really deepen that healing process to reclaim control over your body and your well-being as well. So let's start this healing together towards like a powerful resolution and also recovery as well. So remember where I touched on earlier. I kind of want to backtrack a little bit. I feel I want to put a bit more emphasis on this study that they did of the 1,000 MRIs with people. So MRI is that magnetic resonance imaging scans. And so now what happened here is that they performed this on individuals, and the aim of the study was to really start to correlate with the findings from this MRI, such as these ruptured discs, with the clinical symptoms that also was reported by these patients. Now, what research here was hoping to find was a direct link between the physical injury and the chronic pain experienced by these individuals. However, this study actually also showed something really, really amazing, that there was no direct correlation between these physical findings, like the ruptured disc, and the patient's reports of this chronic pain that they were struggling with. Now, this lack of correlation, it suggests actually that it suggests that many of this pain, right, the pain complaints that they were experiencing, it wasn't necessarily caused by physical injuries alone, but it could also be influenced by other underlying factors. And so this study, it also went a little bit deeper into the connection between trauma and pain as well. And this study explained that during traumatic experiences, such as, for example, remember we touched on the soldiers of World War I, the body might attempt to, like defend itself in a moment of distress and when it felt unsafe. However, the person at the time was actually unable to act. The body couldn't, release that cortisol to defend itself. And this could be perhaps because maybe they froze in fear. And and it's like, how can I say? It's almost like it's incomplete, right? So these incompleted defense actions, right? Action are now stored in the body as procedural memories. Now, these memories are not just psychological, but physical imprints left by the trauma. So when someone is unable to respond to a traumatic event by fighting or fleeing, they enter what's called the freeze response. Now, this is a survival mechanism where the body becomes immobilized, yet the intent to act remains actually trapped within the body. So what happens is that the body stores this incomplete attempt to defend itself, and the person might actually end up carrying this frozen response within them long after the trauma has passed. So now this also leads to a very strong connection between trauma and PTSD. Because remember earlier, we also touched on the soldiers, particularly those from World War I, who experienced these horrors of the warfare. And this really provided such a powerful example of how trauma could freeze a person in that moment of distress. Now, these soldiers retained these frozen states and the incomplete self-defense actions, which actually contributed now to complex PTSD, PTSD symptoms after their mental and physical health, long after the war ended. You see, so these soldiers held onto the physical and emotional patterns that they were never fully resolved. And so now the body, having stored these incomplete self-defense actions, continued to be impacted by the trauma, affecting their overall physical and mental health well-being for years. Now, you see, understanding a person's attachment style plays a critical role in determining the most effective intervention strategies. Now, each attachment style, whether avoidant, anxious, or disorganized, this carries with it different emotional and relational wounds. So by identifying a person's attachment style, we can really start to tailor a person's need for healing, right? That tailor that intervention method that really addresses these unique challenges, helping the person to heal in a way that's most suited to their needs. And their needs are based on what, right? This unmet needs that's wounded from their past as well. And so many of this comes from our attachment style. So now, this statement, it addresses the impact of a dominant freeze response during our childhood trauma and that it has on the person later in life, particularly focusing on how this can lead to dissociative states and also, a lot of various other physical and psychological challenges. But in order to really bring this together, let's understand the freeze response first. Right, so this is actually one of the body's natural reactions to extreme stress or perceived threats as well. And this is also part of the fight and flight responses. So when we look at the freeze response system, it's characterized by immobility, right? So where the body is, I mean, it literally like freezes. You know, they call it like the deer in the headlights, right? It just freezes. It stands absolutely still. And it normally freezes to avoid being detected, for example, by a predator or in response to an overwhelming situation. Now, the response is also particularly common in situations where a person might feel incredibly powerless and also maybe unable to fight and they want to run away. Now, the impact of the freeze response during a child's development is when we can see the aftermaths of this is when a child now, for example, experiences trauma during very, very critical developmental stages in their primary years. Coping mechanisms is now the freeze response. And this can have long lasting effects on their nervous system and also their overall health. And here's also now how that can actually play out. When a person experiences a dissociative state, they disconnect from their thoughts, their feelings, and memories, or their sense of identity. And this mental process is known as disassociation. And this often actually becomes almost like a habitual way of coping for a person who maybe now relied on the freeze response during their childhood. Now, this person who struggles with disassociation. In this case, disassociation, of course, clearly served them as a protective mechanism. And this also allowed them now to, get through quite unbearable circumstances by creating distance between themselves and now the emotional and the physical pain that they experience. However, when disassociation persists, when it continues into adulthood, it can now really become problematic and people can actually start to feel detached from reality. I call it like feeling that like that fish in a bowl, right? You feel like you're in this bowl and everything is just kind of like happening around you. You're so disconnected from it. It's like you are an observer to life itself, right? And it's almost like you have no opinion or feelings or anything in associated with what's happening around you. So that's when a person starts to feel really detached from their reality. It's like they're just observing life from outside of the body, or the world around them might seem quite unreal, right? It's like, I feel like I don't belong here, right? So leaving them disconnected from their present moment. So now when we look at for people whose primary response to trauma was their freeze response, their body's natural fight or flight responses were delayed. We know that now. So that was a recap. So just remember that because the fight or flight system, it's typically the body's immediate reaction to threats. But when a person remains now frozen during a traumatic experience, their ability to fight or flee can become suppressed. Interestingly, now this suppression can actually only also be reversed later in life when the body begins to produce more testosterone. Now, testosterone is a hormone that's responsible for aggression and physical responses to threats. And this can actually trigger previously dominant fight or flight responses. Now, as a result, a person may not actually end up experiencing this typical fear or anger reactions until they reach puberty or even later stages of development when testosterone levels starts to rise. Now, another long-term consequence of the freeze response is the development of a chronic dorsal vagal response. So the dorsal vagal response is part of the parasympathetic nervous system, and it's also associated with the body's freeze reaction. So when this is activated repeatedly, right? So this response now can lead to a number of physical symptoms, including chronically slowed heart rate and also shallow breathing. Now, over time, this state of immobility can actually now cause low energy, and this can contribute to conditions like fibromyalgia, a disorder that most of us now know is characterized by, widespread of pain throughout the body and also maybe fatigue, as well as many other stress-related illnesses. So the continuous activation of this freeze response can really truly weaken the immune system, making a person more vulnerable to illnesses. So it's not just chronic pain that you can be vulnerable to, but illnesses as well. So interestingly, women are actually statistically more prone to both the freeze response and also conditions that's now associated with PTSD and fibromyalgia. Now, research also shows that women are 3 times more likely than men to experience these conditions. And this gender disparity, right, might also be influenced by a combination of biological and physiological and psychological factors. Now, women, for instance, are much more socially conditioned to suppress aggressive responses and might be more likely to experience certain types of trauma, such as maybe sexual abuse, which can trigger the freeze response. Now, consequently, also the combination of social conditioning and also biological factors, this makes women much more susceptible to long-term effects of trauma and also the chronic conditions that follow. Now, let's also quickly have a look here and touch on the long-term health consequences as well. So the repeated activation of the freeze response during childhood trauma can have lasting effects on a person's physical and mental health. And fibromyalgia, for instance, has also been linked to chronic stress and trauma, with the symptoms that include widespread pain, fatigue, cognitive difficulties, and often also referred to as fibro fog. So you see, all these health issues are much more prevalent in women, potentially due to reasons being mentioned above. So these factors all play incredibly big roles. And I really hope that you were listening to this masterclass to kind of like start to, and I'm sure your subconscious mind was going wild. You could feel like it was going at 1,000 miles an hour, and you might not have even, necessarily been able to grasp which memories they were tapping into. But either way, I'm sure you started to get a sense of, wow, that from my past is now making more sense. This reaction that I have in the here and now is making a lot more sense as well. So having said that, and with this awareness, we're actually going to take it now a step further, and we're going to dive deeper into a healing meditation and some healing discovery as well. So remember, as with all my master classes, I love to talk about the theory, the research, the insight, but I love to also be practical and also look at, well, that's great. Now we have all this wonderful information. And so now what? Right? So awareness of a problem is a problem half solved. The other half is taking action. So let's now move to the other half of that part and start to take action. If you choose to, if you want to, you can join us now for this healing meditation, because we're going to dive a little bit deeper into why that chronic pain could maybe be there. How can we start to look at shifting it as well? So I'm really excited for that. So let's also get started. But also, just very briefly, if you're loving this, if you're enjoying this, I wholeheartedly invite you to come and join my Math Level 1 workshop, where we'll be diving deeply into how to work with trauma, how do we release trauma. And this is a powerful process that you can learn, even if it's just for yourself, or if you would like to become a certified practitioner in it, you can do that too. It's what I love about this technique also is that it takes you wherever it is that you are, and it elevates you. Whether you have pain, addiction challenges, whether you have emotional trauma, wherever your challenges are, you're going to find that this technique is incredibly diverse and very flexible to suit a person's needs wherever it is that they are. And then also we have so many wonderful healing retreats coming up across the globe. So do go also have a look at my website. If you love retreats, come meet me in person, say hi. We can heal together. We can laugh together. It's always a ton of fun. Always a ton of fun. Then we also have our famous, many people love this workshop also, our Trauma Decoded workshop. It's a 1-day workshop where you will learn how to read messages of the body, how to learn and understand when certain challenges are coming forward. What is it that your body is trying to say? What is the message there? You'll open up your intuition, learn how to read the body, learn how to use your intuition to connect to the biology of the body, or if a person has ailments, to learn and understand what is the message behind that. It's so incredibly powerful to finally have these answers, because awareness of a problem is a problem half solved. The other half is now just taking action. So are you ready to take that action and learning how to do these intuitive readings, including distant intuitive readings? It's fascinating and exciting. You'll be learning also the research behind this, and why does it work, and why do emotions make us sick? So many other wonderful events also always coming up. So you can always find them at metaphysicalanatomy.com. And so now I would love to start our healing meditation together. And so when you are ready, let's start by taking a nice deep breath. Very good. And I invite you now to just start by focusing on your breath as you're inhaling and exhaling. And notice and see if you can become so still while you're breathing, meaning present, that you can feel your heart beat without touching your heart. And now, I invite you to just also be present with whatever it is that you might be feeling or sensing. You might notice as you become quiet, some people find it quite relaxing, and for some others, it might feel quite stressful. And so, while you are in that moment, just let it be without judgment. Try not to judge what your body is feeling or going through in this moment. More so, just be in a state of observance right now, because it's trying to speak to you, it's trying to talk to you. And when the more we judge it, the more we lose the essence of the message. And now, I invite you to find yourself standing in an open space that feels calming, soothing, and relaxing. And this can be in the mountains, it can be on the ocean, and now, as you're finding yourself there, hear, feel, see, or sense a big waterfall. And this is a healing waterfall. And feeling yourself walking underneath that waterfall and feeling the healing properties of that water flowing over you, soothing you, supporting you, healing you. Releasing maybe stress from today, negative thoughts that you might have, discomfort that you might have right now. This really helping to bring a nice, soothing state forward. And releasing all these hindering blocks within you. Feel how it's flowing from your head, quietening your thoughts, dropping your jaw, noticing as you drop your jaw, your thoughts also just quiet down, dropping your shoulders, just easing into the place and space that you are seated in or lying down, feeling fully supported by that surface as well. And now, I invite you to take a nice deep breath. And as you're exhaling, feeling that last little bit of stress that's in the body, to just releasing and drain out of your feet, just down, 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 into the earth to be renewed and neutralized. And we're not sending our energy down into the earth. Remember, we're just actually just releasing the stress that no longer is needed in the body. All that unused cortisol and adrenaline. It's almost like the energetic imprint of that, just releasing that down, 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 down. And now, I invite you to just be present with your body. And if you do have pain, it doesn't have to be chronic pain, but if you do have pain right now, or you have had challenges with pain in the past, we are aware of that, but we're just going to push that a little bit aside. Just put it in the box. We're going to come back to it. My question to you now is, where in your body do you feel frozen? Where in your body do you feel frozen? Now, let me help you and just explain just a little bit. Some of you might go immediately there, and others might be a bit like, it's everywhere. If that's you, that's okay. Yes, the freeze response normally is everywhere. However, notice where it is everywhere. Notice your whole body where everything feels frozen, and just bring your full focus and awareness to that area now, meaning everywhere. And at the same time, I invite you now, imagine that your awareness is almost like becoming so focused and so zoned in. I invite you to focus now and ask your body if this freeze response had a starting point, or a place where it's just that micro little bit of pressure more concentrated. Where would it be? Notice what immediately comes to mind and follow that. Just be with that now for a few seconds. And once you have that area, or it can be 2 areas or 3, it doesn't have to be just one, I invite you to bring your full focus and awareness to that area now. And as you bring your full focus to that area now, I don't want you to go to memories. We don't need to do that. The question that we're going to ask that part of the body now is, what action do you need to complete to find your peace? What action do you need to complete in order to find your peace? And notice, maybe you get images, maybe you get sensations, ideas, maybe you hear something, maybe you sense something. We're not going back to memories. Remember that. This is more about an action. And observing, what does your body give you there? What is it showing you or allowing you to become aware of? Very good. And now, as you are there in that moment, you hear, feel, see, or sense that healing waterfall coming over you again. Holding the space for that part of the body now to release that action, that energetic imprint of it, and feeling that white light is soothing it and releasing the built up tension of that. It's almost like it's dissolving like an aspirin tablet in water, just resolving and dissolving, resolving and dissolving, becoming lighter and lighter and lighter, easier. It's almost like that area is expanding. Allowing it to expand and ease. Expand and ease. And even talk to that part of the body if you want, and say to it, did you know that we're not in the past anymore? That this old event, which we don't need to know of, it's not real anymore. Did you know that this is now many, many, many years later? Call your body back into the present moment. Call the muscles and the memories of the procedural memories, not the memories itself. We're not tapping into that, but the contraction of that, and say, we can let go now. It's like you're carrying heavy bags for many, many, many years, and your arm gets so sore and it's so heavy. And then suddenly someone tells you, you don't need that bag anymore. Even the clothing in it, you've outgrown it, you don't need anymore. And then you look at it and you go, oh, let go. Now's the time to just tell the muscles, tell the body, tell that part of the body, we can let go now. This response is so outdated. And notice how perhaps throughout your life, in most cases, you didn't even need that response. Allowing that healing waterfall to continue to flow over you. Releasing, releasing, releasing. And now, as it's continuing to healing, allowing that healing waterfall to flow over it, through it, and also your entire body, allowing that healing to continue to take place. I'm going to affirm positive affirmations here with you, and all that you have to do is listen to my voice. I am strong and capable of healing from this old pain and feeling frozen. Every day I become stronger and more resilient. I release old emotional pain of my past and I embrace healing in the present moment. My body is healing itself with each breath that I take. I'm worthy of a life free from pain and full of joy. I trust my body's ability to heal and recover. I am patient with myself, and I'm also patient as I heal, knowing that recovery is also a journey. I let go of old painful thoughts and I welcome peaceful thoughts into my mind and life. My mind is calm and my body is relaxed. I am surrounded by love and support on my healing journey. I choose to focus on the positive and let go of the negative. My body knows how to heal, and I support it with love and care. Remember to keep your breathing consistent as we're progressing through to stay under that healing waterfall, receiving that. I release any and all tension, allowing my body to heal naturally and gently and gracefully. I am thankful for my body's strength and ability to heal. I am in control of my healing process. I forgive myself and I release pain holding me back. I trust the process of healing and know that I am making progress. I am more powerful and bigger than my old pain, and I am whole and a vibrant being. I nourish my body with healthy thoughts, food, and activities. I am open to the healing energy that flows through me. I call my power back from this old pain. I call my power back from my past. I call my power back. I call my power back. And so it is now. And just allowing yourself just to stand underneath that waterfall just for a little bit longer, just feeling the healing properties of that water flowing through you, through every single cell in your body, releasing and healing, releasing and healing. And remember, it's like that old suitcase that we were talking about, you were holding, just drop it. It's like, imagine you're opening your hand and you just let it go. Put it down. And now, I invite you to continue to stand under that waterfall. And if you want, you can actually stay there for a little bit longer if you feel you need it a little bit longer. And also, what you can do is bring your full focus and awareness to the bottom of your feet so that you can be grounded and still continue to receive that healing. So just bring your full focus and awareness to the bottom of your feet, feeling the surface beneath your body in the here and now. Taking a nice deep breath. And gently start to come back. Gently coming back, opening your eyes, still being healed there in the background, and allowing yourself to receive it. Feeling awake, refreshed, balanced, and welcome back. Well done. Thank you so much for being here with me today. It was lovely to have you, and I look forward to seeing you next time. And until then, bye. Take care.